Up to 75% of runners get hurt every single year, and I want you to be in the top 25%. Those runners who can string together season after season of consistent training and ultimately race faster because of that consistency. I want to share with you my favorite, most effective strategies for staying healthy, so let's get into it. Now, everyone thinks that strength training is the most important thing you can do to stay healthy. It's not actually the case. The most important way to stay healthy is to make sure that your training is structured appropriately. So let's start with intensity, because your risk of injury increases exponentially when you start running harder workouts. The more intense your training is overall, the higher your risk for injury. So the first thing I want you to do with your training is just be really careful with hard workouts. Any kind of structured, faster training session should be done strategically. Make sure that you've done something that looks like the workout you're about to do before you actually do the workout. This is just progression. This is making sure that you don't jump into a really hard workout, let's say 6 times a half a mile at your goal 5K race pace. That's a really hard workout, and we shouldn't just jump into that. We should start with threshold runs. We should start with short, faster repetitions with a lot of recovery to build the capabilities necessary before you do those really hard race-specific workouts. Progressing your volume is also really important. So instead of blindly following the 10% rule, which is probably too conservative at very low mileage levels, and it's probably too aggressive at higher mileage levels, let's instead use a concept called baseline mileage. Your baseline mileage is a mileage level that you're comfortable running. So that might be 20 miles a week, it might be 30 miles a week, 40. No matter what it is, look back on your training log and find out what volume you're very comfortable with. And you can be more aggressive than 10% per week when you're building up to your baseline mileage, but less aggressive once you've broached your baseline mileage, especially if you're in mileage territory that you've never run before. That's where you should be much, much more cautious. And just remember, you don't always have to increase your mileage. You can stay at a competitive mileage level for you and let the benefits compound. So don't be fooled into thinking you always have to increase your mileage, and don't be fooled into blindly following the 10% rule every single week of your training cycle. We've talked a lot about consistency with intensity and volume, and also building your volume. It's also really helpful to know, especially from an injury perspective, that the risk of injury is much higher when you're building mileage as opposed to maintaining mileage. So this concept is really helpful because now, once you build that mileage, it's like you've built something amazing. Hold on to it. Don't just take weeks off. Don't let your mileage slip a lot. If you can, maintain that higher volume so that your body isn't constantly building up to a new mileage level. You're just consistently running it more frequently. And that is going to help you stay healthy in the long term.
You know, I'm not that big into supplements, but I do love AG1 by Athletic Greens. I consider it my nutrition insurance, helping me cover all my bases so I know I'm not missing out on anything my body needs, especially when I'm training really hard. I try to eat really well, but of course, AG1 is that extra security that gives me peace of mind over my diet. 1 scoop per day, and I'm getting 75 vitamins and minerals, prebiotics, probiotics, antioxidants, and adaptogens. You can try it out too at athleticgreens.com/Jason, and they're going to throw in a free year's worth supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. Check it out at athleticgreens.com/Jason.
It might have been weird to hear the guy who started a business called Strength Running to say that strength training is not the most important thing to stay healthy, but it's not. It's all the training issues that we talked about before. Nevertheless, strength training is likely your number 2 strategy. Besides getting your training structured well, making sure that you're not progressing too quickly, following the 3 2s, as my college coach used to say, running too fast, too far, and too soon before you're ready. And once you get that training side of things right, the next thing to add is strategic strength training. I'm going to break this one up into 2 separate tips. Tip number 1 is to sandwich your run in between a dynamic warm-up and 10 to 20 minutes of post-run core work, strength training, or mobility training. This is really going to help you become a better athlete, work on your coordination and athleticism, while also building strength that's going to keep you healthy. And the second aspect of strength training is real weightlifting in a gym or at your home gym that you've outfitted for yourself. This is where you're actually lifting some heavier weights. And this is a really valuable strategy to work on force production, to build much stronger levels of strength than you've had before. Oh my God, I'm in nature. I'm in nature, everyone. And this kind of weightlifting really should be considered coordination training under resistance. It does a lot to help you improve your running economy and build strength to toughen up your connective tissues and your muscles to prevent your next big injury. It's not just about the strength, it's also about the coordination, the running economy, helping you do your training with less effort so that you can stay healthy longer. Finally, I want to encourage you to have fun. Look, distance running can be a very difficult sport. We're stressing ourselves, we are pushing the envelope physiologically so we can drive adaptations. That's what makes us into better runners. But if you're not enjoying the process of training, if you're not having fun with it, you're probably not going to be consistent. And like my college coach used to say, distance running is a lifestyle. It is not just a sport that you do for a couple months out of the year. And if you want to achieve your potential, embracing the lifestyle aspect of running is going to help you really get everything out of it possible. So to have more fun, run in beautiful places. Get out into nature, even if a bug attacks your face. Run with friends. You know, I spent the first 8 years of my life on teams, cross-country, indoor and outdoor track teams, and I wouldn't be the runner I am today for those experiences. I needed those experiences. I needed people who were better than me to push me forward, people who weren't as good as me to look up to me and make me feel confident about my own abilities, and also as someone that I could mentor and help along the way. It also is just more fun to go through difficult things with other people. So if you haven't yet, join a run club, even join a virtual team. I'll link below to Strength Running's virtual team. Connect with other runners so that you can share stories, you can ask for advice, you can get other perspectives. And just like being in a classroom and hearing other students' questions, being around other runners to hear their experiences, to get their feedback is going to help you become a better runner too, in a way that's just much more fun. So my friends, no runner likes running injuries. And I think that I talk about this topic a lot because when I was training competitively, I was injury prone, and I've had pretty much every injury you can imagine, from Achilles tendinopathy, IT band syndrome, I've had SI joint problems, plantar fasciitis, muscle strains. I mean, you name it, I've probably had it if it were a running injury. So I want to pay it forward and help you avoid the mistakes that I've made in my training. Now, I have also interviewed 9 elite athletes. These are mostly runners with one triathlete on their favorite recovery and injury prevention strategies. I put it all together in a free guide called The Little Black Book of Injury Prevention and Recovery. You can download it at the link below. If you have any other injury questions for me, leave them under this video. I'm going to reply to every single one because I want you to have the healthiest, most productive running season yet.